Welcome to Endeavour Library's webinar on APA 7 referencing. Today we will be looking at in-text citations and your reference list for your assignments. In-text citations in APA style should look something like this or this. A direct quote from a resource with quotation marks, or a paraphrase or summary of that information. We will be looking at both of these methods in more detail. Anytime that you paraphrase or quote someone else's words or ideas in the body of the text, you must give credit to the original author with an in-text citation. It's important to note that you must also reference data or data sets, as well as tables, figures, illustrations, or images that you include in your assignments. An in-text citation is a short citation in a sentence that refers readers to the full reference at the end of the paper. A basic in-text citation will commonly include the author's last name, the year of publication, and the page numbers where the information was found. When quoting an author's exact words, place quotation marks around the text, then include your in-text citation. Start with the author's last name, comma, the year of publication, comma, and then the page that the text was found on, preceded by the letter P and a period. If the quote is more than 40 words, it is formatted in a block without quotation marks, so just keep track of how many words. If you summarize an author's ideas using your own words, this is called a paraphrase. A paraphrase still requires an in-text citation. When paraphrasing, you do not include quotation marks. Following a paraphrase, begin your in-text citation with the author's last name, comma, the year of publication, then surround in parentheses. Always place your period after your in-text citation. It's important to note that the page numbers are not necessary when paraphrasing, as you may have summarized an idea from a whole section or chapter. But when you are able to list the page number, academics and markers will prefer that you include one so they can see where the information came from. So far, our examples of paraphrasing in a direct quote have had the author's name and date in parentheses after the sentence. This is what APA refers to as a parenthetical in-text citation. Alternatively, you can use a narrative citation. As this example shows, when you mention an author's name in the sentence, always include the date of publication after the name. Place the page numbers in parentheses at the end of the sentence, followed by a period, to complete the in-text citation. You do not need to repeat the author's name or date at the end of the sentence. This is another style of creating an in-text citation, and it is up to you which style you choose. Often reading back your paper helps you decide what makes more sense for the reader. So how do we do an in-text citation for two authors? Use an ampersand, also known as the and symbol, after the first author's name if it appears in parentheses. When you're using two authors' names in a sentence, in a narrative citation, you use the full word and, like this. For three or more authors, follow the first author's name with the words et al., followed by a period. This means "and others" in Latin and prevents your in-text citation from taking up too much space and word count from your paper. If there is no known author, include a shortened title in place of the author's name. Or for a website or government paper, you can use the organization name. If your source does not include page numbers, which is quite common for websites, indicate the paragraph where you found the information by using the abbreviation para followed by a period. The reference page is at the end of your paper and will contain the full citations for your in-text citations. Make sure to put your citations in alphabetical order. Don't forget to double space and indent after the first line. Those settings are available in Microsoft Word. You'll notice in this example, the same author appears 3 times. But because there is more than one author for the second and third reference, they have been placed in alphabetical order by the second author's name. If there are 2 references by exactly the same author, like this example, you list them in order of publication date, with the oldest one first. No date coming before any dates. If references by the same author have been published in the same year, you list them alphabetically by the title of the paper. Letters A and B are placed after the year, so you can tell the references apart in your in-text citations in the body of your assignment, so the person reading it knows which particular resource it came from. Now we're going to look more closely at your reference list, which is a detailed list of the in-text citations you used in the body of your assignment. Let's look at how to cite a book in APA format so that it will end up looking like this. To cite a book in APA, you will need the author's name, the year the book was published, the title of the book, the edition number, if it's not a first edition, the name of the publisher, and if given, the digital object identifier, known by its acronym DOI. This information is commonly found within the first few pages of a print book or in an online catalogue record. Some databases and ebooks will also have a Cite It button where you can retrieve the APA 7 reference information for your reference list by looking for APA 7. You are still required to double check it for accuracy by comparing it to the standard APA 7 rules for that item type. This example has an error in how the edition number has been written. So it's important to be familiar with the APA 7 rules so you'll get better at spotting errors and make the changes that you need to. So begin with an author's last name, comma, and initials, follow with a period. The year of publication is added next, surround in parentheses, and end with a period. The title in italics always comes after the date. In APA, capitalize the first letter of the title and subtitle, capitalize any proper nouns. If it is not a first edition of the book, add the edition number and include the abbreviation ED with a period. Surround in parentheses and finish with a period. The name of the publisher comes next, follow with a period. If there is a DOI or a URL included in the catalogue record, include it here, like this. This will often be available if it is an ebook. If you do not see a DOI or URL, it is not necessary in the citation. This is your APA book citation. You may have a book with multiple authors. For two authors, add the author's last name, comma, and initial, add a period, comma, and an ampersand before including the second author. The rest of your citation will be completed the same way as before. For three or more authors, follow each last name with a comma, add the first initial, followed by a period, and separate each author name with a comma. Include an ampersand before the last author is listed. You can then proceed to complete the rest of the citation according to the steps outlined earlier. This is your citation for a book with three or more authors. The book might also have editors. They must be included in your citation. If the book includes both a primary author and an editor, include the editor's name after the book title, first initial, period, the last name, comma, add ED with a capital E and a period, surround in parentheses, follow with a period, and then complete the rest of the citation as normal. This is your citation for a book with an editor. Sometimes you will have a book with an editor or editors, but no author. So you list the editor's names in the author field. Add EDS, period, in parentheses, followed with a period, then complete as normal. This is your citation for an edited collection with no single author listed. If you are referencing a particular chapter in an edited book with multiple authors, you will need to gather some additional information. The chapter title and the page numbers are additional pieces of information that you need. After the author's name and publication date, you add the chapter title followed by a period. Then add the words in and the editor's initials and last names followed by EDS and a period and surround in parentheses followed with a comma. And then you add the book title in italics. After this, put the edition number. This example is a first edition and does not require an edition number. You follow with PP, a period, and a space, followed by the page numbers, surround in parentheses, and follow with a period, complete with the publisher and DOI. This would be a citation for a book chapter in an edited book, like a collection. Now let's have a look at how to cite a scholarly journal article, often referred to as a peer-reviewed article, in APA format, so it will end up looking like this. To cite a journal article, you will need the author's name, the year of publication, the title of the article, the title of the journal volume number, issue number, the page numbers on which the article begins and ends, and if given, the DOI or URL. You may find it difficult to find all of this information. Be sure to look carefully throughout the article or refer to the article's source, such as the database you found the article in, for some cited information. Begin with the author's last name, comma, and initials. The year of publication is added next in parentheses, followed by a period. Now comes the title. In APA, capitalize the first letter of the title and subtitle if there is one, and capitalize any proper nouns, and with a period. Next, add the name of the journal in italics, exactly how it's written. So you'll notice that this is capitalized, and follow with a comma. The volume number comes next, which is also italicized. Include the issue number in parentheses and again follow with a comma. The page range comes next. You'll notice there isn't any P or PP information here. Follow with a period and then include the DOI if it is given or a URL for the article. This is your APA citation for a journal article with one author. Scholarly journal articles are often written by more than one author. The 7th edition of the APA manual provides specific details on how to cite journal articles written by 2 authors, 3 to 20 authors, and more than 20 authors. More than 20 authors may seem like a lot, but it is not unusual for a research article to have many academics or scientists involved in the work. To cite a journal article with 2 authors, include the first author's last name, initials, follow with an ampersand, and list the second author's last name and initials as you did with the first. The rest of your citation will be completed the same way as before. This is your APA citation for a journal article with 2 authors. When citing a journal article with 3 to 20 authors, you will again list the authors by last name, comma, and initial. Separate each author name with a comma and include an ampersand before the name of the last author. The rest of your citation will be completed the same way as before. Your APA citation for a journal article with 3 to 20 authors will look like this. If you happen to have a journal article with more than 20 authors, list the first 19 authors using last name, comma, initials, and separate each author name with a comma. After the 19th author, use an ellipsis in place of the remaining authors' names. Do not include an ampersand. End your list of authors with the name of the final author listed in your article. There should only be 20 names listed in total. You can then proceed to complete the rest of the citation according to the steps outlined previously. An APA citation for a journal article with more than 20 authors will look like this. Let's have a look at referencing websites. It is important to know how to cite a website in APA format, so it will end up looking like this. You'll notice that websites have a more specific date, and that's because the information is often updated very regularly, and so that specific date is available. To cite a website, you will need the author's name, the year and date of publication or update, the title of the web page, the name of the website, and the URL or web address. Sometimes you may find it difficult to find all of this information. Be sure to look carefully throughout the website. Begin with the author's last name, comma, and initial. The year, comma, month, and day are added next in parentheses and followed with a period. Now comes the title in italics. In APA, capitalize the first letter of the title and subtitle. Capitalize any proper nouns. followed by a period. Add the name of the website, followed by a period, and include the web page URL. This is your APA website citation for a web page with an author. If the page has no named author, use the organization, company, or site name instead. Add a period. The year, comma, month, and day are added next. In parentheses, followed by a period. Again, the title in italics. You'll notice this time that the name of the website is not necessary, as it has already been included in the author field. So you then go directly to including the web page URL. This is your APA website citation for a web page with no author. If you cannot find a date of publication, use ND to represent no date instead. If the only date on the website is the copyright statement found at the bottom of the web page usually, APA style recommends that you do not use it. This is your APA website citation for a web page with no date. That's the end of the examples for the APA Basics webinar.
Okay, so here we've launched the library website. You'll see on the side menu here that you can register for other webinars from the button here, and our referencing library guide is located here. So when I launch that, you'll see that you can access the PDF version of our APA referencing guide here, as well as the website shortcuts on the side here if you've just got something you want to quickly look up. But in the webinar that we had today, we covered the basics of APA referencing, and you'll see from the contents menu here that we covered the beginning parts, in-text referencing, paraphrasing, direct quotes, and just this sort of top section here. If you go to a more advanced APA referencing webinar next, they'll cover things like figures, tables, and the appendix. So just keep that in mind when you're ready to go to that next level. Okay, so thank you for attending today. If you need further help, we've got our chat box here, and you can also book a consultation through the LMS. And we also have a link to booking a consultation from our homepage here.